Hello friends, in this video I will explain you about group dynamics. So this is the second part of group dynamics. So in the previous video I have explained about groups, formation of group and development of groups, okay, and different stages and theories also. So the notes of the previous video on group dynamics also you can get at the end of this video, and the note of this lecture also you will get in the end. So it means both chapter, or you can say both parts note, you can get in the end of this video. So let's start. So first here, this is the second unit written, group dynamics. So group dynamics, what it is. So first that I will explain, and then step by step I will explain you, so that you will be able to understand in a better way. So the first thing here given, group dynamics refers to the change that takes place within the group. Okay, so group dynamics, it is nothing but a type of change that takes place within the group. Okay, so changes in the group, we can say that is group dynamic. It also refers to the forces operating within the group. It means due to certain forces there is a change in the group, so that's why it can also be referred as forces operating within the group. Then the next given here, group dynamics is related to the field theory of Levin. Okay, this is related to field theory of Levin. So what is this field theory of Levin? Which assumes man's behavior to be a function of the field existing at the time of occurrence of behavior. Okay, so whatever type of field it is present or existing at the time of the behavior, so that it will decide so what type of changes or dynamics of the group will be. Okay, now next here given, group dynamics definition, what is it? So the behavior and the personality characteristic of individual member of a group affect the behavior of others and make a significant impact over the functioning of a group as a whole. It means here the behavior and personality of individual personality characteristics of individual members. It means the members, okay, group members affect the behavior of others, means each member of the group affect the behavior of the other member of the group, and in this way it affects the whole functioning of the group. Okay, so the interactive, next given here, the interactive psychological relationship is termed as group dynamics. This interactive psychological relation means how each group member affect the other, and how the whole, or you can say whole group is going to be affected by the individual characteristic of group members. So this interactive psychological relationship is known termed as group dynamics. Okay, it is a type of psychological interaction in psychological relationship. So the important two variables in this context are group cohesiveness and group locomotion. So for group dynamics, two terms are very important. The first term is group cohesiveness and the second term is group locomotion. So cohesiveness plays a vital role in determining the influence of group on the members. Given here, cohesiveness plays a vital role in determining the influence of group on the members. So group influences individual members. So and that influence decides how much it will be the cohesiveness. On the other hand, written locomotion indicates the movement toward desired goal. Locomotion means in the movement means group should move towards certain direction, or you can say towards a certain goal. So that is termed as locomotion. Personality of the individual and characteristic of social situation both takes an important role for group dynamics. So personality of the individual and characteristic of the social situation both takes an important role for group dynamics. When the group itself shows a readiness to change by active participation, then the actual social change becomes possible. It means, um, if the group is ready, if group wants to change, or if group is ready to accept the changes, then the social change is possible. Otherwise, social change is not going to be possible. So the change the change will occur when the group actually takes the decision to change. So when the change will occur when the group actually takes the decision to change. Thus, the concept of group dynamics is helpful in understanding social changes. Since social changes depend on groups, so that's why group dynamics is very important for social changes, which involve not only the introduction of an innovation but also in overcoming of resistance. Okay, so here given, which involve not only the introduction of innovation but also overcoming the resistance. So whenever there it is a change in the group or in society, then there is always some type of resistance. So group dynamics, it is also about overcoming the resistance to change by the group. Importance of group dynamics. So what is the importance of group dynamics? So it is essential for effective practice with any type of task. It is essential for effective practice with any type of task. Second, it promotes out the unproductive meetings. It promotes out, it means it concentrates mainly the productive meetings, and it promotes out the unproductive meetings. Individual members are or group as a whole benefit in a number of ways. The future functioning of the group is influenced by the group dynamics. The facilities so now here you can see group dynamics facilitates the participation of the members. Group dynamics helps to achieve the goals of group in connection with the participation and satisfaction of the group. So group dynamics helps to achieve the goals of group in connection with the participation and satisfaction of the group. Okay, it increases the power. So group dynamics increases the power and control of the group. And next given 8 number, it increases the communication process. It increases the communication process and interaction pattern. And group dynamics also creates impact on racial, ethnic and cultural background. So due to these reasons, group dynamics is important. Okay, I think the bottom part was cut. So now you can see here it increases the power and control of the group, and then it given it increases the communication process and interaction pattern. And the ninth given, it creates impact on racial, ethnic and cultural background. Next given here, interpersonal attraction and cohesion in group dynamics. So here we will try to understand uh, how cohesion and interpersonal attractions are related to each other, and both decide group dynamics, means what type of group dynamics will be there. So subgroup formation depends on interpersonal attraction among the group members, and the level of cohesion depends on this. So now you see subgroup formation depends on the interpersonal. So how much interpersonal interaction are going to be, that will decide the formation of subgroup, and the group members and level of cohesion depends on interpersonal attraction only. Okay, the group. So you can say inter cohesion in the group The level of cohesion depends on the interpersonal attraction among group members. Okay. Next, given proximity increases interaction among people, and ultimately it increases attraction. So the more interaction is going to be there among people or the group members in the group, the more will be the attraction. So it means interaction directly related to attraction. Similarity tend to make people attract toward each other. If people are similar, then they will be attracted toward each other. Then members are attracted to those who engage in group interaction that meet their expectations. Members are attracted to those who engage in group interaction. Okay. So in a group, so many members are there. So those members are going to be attracted to those who engage in the interaction process, in group interaction. If any member is not uh, engaged in group interaction, then the group members are not going to be attracted toward him or her. Interpersonal attraction is just one of the building block of group cohesion. So interpersonal attraction is the building block. So you can say interpersonal attraction is the cause for group cohesion. Then compatibility tends to promote interpersonal attraction. So here given compatibility. So if group members are more compatible, or in other words we can say, so compatible means there is similarity and they have similar values and rules, then in that case they are more compatible, and if they are more compatible, then in that case there will be more interpersonal interaction. So now next given, cohesion reveals the positive relationship among group members. So cohesion, positive relationship. So if in any group members are attached with each other, or you can say there is more cohesion in the group, then in that case the group members are positively interrelated, or there it is positive relationship. Cohesion can lead to a level of conformity that detracts from the work of the group. So cohesion lead to a level of conform that detracts from the work of the group. So you can see cohesion means how much group members are interrelated among each other. So that depends on the conformity. How much group members are conform means they act according to each other. So that is conformity. So that decides how much cohesion will be there in the group. Okay. So next, high level of group cohesion are generally associated with positive outcomes. I see here, whenever group members have joined any group, then in that case there will be more cohesion. Only in the case when the outcomes are going to be positive. If negative outcomes will come, then in that case group cohesion will be less. So great satisfaction with group experiences. So these are the things which are related to positive outcome. Great satisfaction with group experiences, higher level of goals attainment by group members and the group as a whole, and great commitment by group members. So these are the points which tells about the positive outcome of the group. And if there are positive outcomes by the group, it means there will be greater cohesiveness among group members. And one more point here, it is given increased feeling of self-confidence, self-esteem, and personal adjustment among members of the group will also cause high level of group cohesion. Now, next point given, group dynamics and social integration. So first of all, I will explain social integration, then after I will explain how group dynamics it is related to social integration. Social integration means how group members fit together and are accepted in the group. Okay, so it is about fitting together of different members of the group, how they are, what related or fit in the group, and how they are accepted by the group. So that is about social integration. It means fitting of different members of the group and accepted by the group. So group dynamics of norms, role and status promote social integration by influencing how members behave. So here given group dynamics of norms, rules and status promote social integration by influencing how members behave. So members of the group behave in a certain ways. Okay, if they don't behave in a certain way, then there will be less cohesiveness, and if less cohesiveness, then that is chances that group members are going to break the norms and rules, and they will get out of the group. So that's here given group dynamics of group. So group dynamics of norms. So norms, role and status. So norms, role and status, these things decides the social integration or promote the social integration. If individual members of the group, if the individual members of the group uh, behave according to certain norms, role or status, then in that case there will be greater social integration, and if they don't, then there will be less social integration. So group cannot function effectively without a fairly high level of social integration. Now group cannot function effectively without a fairly high level of social integration among group members. So now you see here, so for effective functioning of the group, it is required that there is social integration. Means group members follow certain work or behave according to certain norms, rule, status. If there is a less social integration, then in that case group cohesiveness will be less, and the functional effectiveness will also be less. So social effect here given, social integration helps to build unanimity about the purposes and goals of the group. So social integration helps to build unanimity about the purposes and goals of the group, meaning by social integration, group member means if there is greater social integration, then in that case group decision will be unanimous, and the decision will be accepted by the group members. If there is less social integration, then in that case the decision taken by groups will cause some group members uh, to disagree, and conflict will arise in the group. Two forms of social influences are there. So here two forms of social influences are first given normative influence, second it is given about informative influence of social influence. So social influence two types: normative, second information. So what is normative influence? It is the desire to meet other people's expectation and to be accepted by others. So that is normative influence. Okay, so it is the desire to meet other people's expectation and to be accepted by others. So that is normative. It means according to certain norms, people in the group are going to behave so that they can be accepted by the others. If they don't behave according to certain norms, then no, they are not going to be accepted by the group. Then next given, informational influence. So it is accepting and being persuaded by information provided by others. So if any group member provides some information, And if that is true, and if others believe then that is it is true, then in that case others are going to be influenced by that, and on the basis of that the decision is going to be taken by the other members of the group. So that is informational influence. Then culture and group. Next point given, 2.3, culture and group. So what is culture? Culture is a combination of values, belief and tradition of the society. So given culture is what? Combination of values, belief and tradition of the society. So in the society, people have certain values, certain beliefs and tradition. So if we combine those values, beliefs and tradition, then we get culture. So when group members meet, they explore their value system and interpersonal styles, searching for common ground on which they relate to each other. So now you see here what is the point written. So when group members meet, again if group is formed, so members are going to interact with each other, they meet each other, then they try to explore their value system. So what individual members value, accordingly they are going to find other members who have common values, common belief or common style, and accordingly there is going to be cohesiveness among those individual members of the group. Then multicultural differences are silent. Multicultural differences are, you can see multicultural differences are silent interpersonal factors that have significance for the group culture. So now you see here multicultural differences. Okay. Multicultural are silent interpersonal factors that have significance for the group culture. So if there are members in a group from different cultures, then the combination or combined culture of the group is going to be decided by how much individual culture are going to influence the other culture. Even the cultural experiences of group, survival, social hierarchy, and inclusiveness, and also ethnic identification influence the way members interact with one another in the group. Now you see here, cultural experiences, the way individual members have the experience. Okay, the way in members have the experience of their culture. Okay, accordingly they are going to behave in the group. And now you see a cultural experience of group survival. So social hierarchy, inclusiveness, and also ethnic identification influence the way members interact. So how individual members are going to interact with each other, so that interaction will depend on the cultural experience. So whatever cultural they have, social hierarchy, so from uh, which social hierarchy they belong, and the inclusiveness and ethnic identification, and from which ethnic group they belong. According to that they are going to interact with one another in the group. Members expectations and goals in a multicultural group vary widely. They significantly influence the dynamics of the group. So you see here is members expectations, how individual member expect from the group, and the goals in the multicultural group vary widely. So different cultures have different values. So there will be, you know what, there will be different means wide ways of thinking. So that's why those all things will decide the dynamics of the group. The significant influence the dynamics of the group. That's what I said. They affect the dynamics of the group. Those all things, those all expectations and multicultural values will impact the dynamics of the group. Measurement of group dynamics. How we can measure? Measurement of group dynamics is essential to understand the behavior of a group as a whole, as well as individual who make up of the group. So why we need to measure the group dynamics? So if we are able to measure the group dynamics, then in that case we will be able to understand the behavior of a group as a whole, and we will also be able to understand the behavior of the individual members of the group. Okay. The synergy that is created when people come together to work in these groups transcend the collection individual effort. So you see, so why it is important for to measure the group dynamics? So it is because why it happens that whenever people come together and form group, then the effectiveness of the group it increases. Okay, if we add individual effectiveness, so that it is going to be less as compared to the collective effectiveness of the group. So that's why it is important to understand or measure group dynamics. So here an overview, you can say the summary given. So given summary, group dynamics mainly depends. So group dynamics means how group changes, how group behave, and how means everything means whatever type of changes in the group. So those things depend on the communication process and interaction pattern. So what type of communication among individual group members are there, and how they interact with each other. Second, it is given group dynamics depend on interpersonal attraction and cohesiveness, how individual members are attracted to each other, and on what basis they are attracted, and that attraction will decide how much cohesion there it is in the group. Then social integration and influence, so how much individual members are integrate means social integration. The greater the social integration, okay, social integration means the greater they have common values, common norms, so a common system of thought that will decide there will be greater social integration. And if these things are less, then in that case there will be less social integration, and accordingly they are going to be influenced by the group. If there it is more social integration, there will be more influence, and if there it is less social integration, then there will be less social influence. Okay. Next, power control. So group control the behavior of the individual members. So that's why it is a way to control the power. And the culture. Dynamics also depends on the culture, because individual members come from different culture. So that's why they have different way of thinking. They have different opinion. They have different norm. So those all things combinedly give rise to different groups and different group norms, different group values, different group integrations. Okay, so that is the summary. So you, you can see, get the notes at the end of this video. So thank you all. Notes of this video and the previous video also you can get at the end of this video. Thank you.